Hello YouTube. So we're back at home. I'm actually staying at a friend's place right now because I'm looking to move into a place. Anyway, this is what's in my bag, or how did TrailSpinTV film, or what equipment they used, all that stuff. But first things first, we have to thank some patrons. Patrons. Is it Patreons or patrons? Thank you, Travis Corda, Sean Hraban, Ola Stravrum, Michigan Overland. I thought it was a name. I was like, whatever. Michael Hollis, Kanye East. We got Kanye East supporting us. Look at that. James Nielsen and Christopher Brandt. So yes, thank you. I've never had to thank patrons before, so thank you for actually supporting this channel, supporting this journey. I don't know how to thank patrons. This is my first time doing it, but thank you. Thank you for giving us money, because money helps us do what we need to do. But anyway, before I get into this demonstration, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to be going live on Sunday. I'm trying to go live at noon Central Time, or in Chicago time. I think that's Central, but I may have to work. I may be moving in, so a lot of stuff's going to be going on. But lunchtime, noon, I'm going to try to go live and answer all the questions that everybody has asked me specifically, and maybe just to hear myself talk. I don't know, so be there, or be square. Also, stickers, I think we have 5 left. I'm recording this video on the same exact day, so we have 5 left. If you want to get a sticker, follow us on, or like us on Facebook, and message us, and we will send one out. But there's 5 left. So before I get to the camera or anything like that, the first is the bag. This is a Burton, I have no idea, and it's surprising how Burton makes photography backpacks. But on top of that, the reason why backpacks are important is because you want to be able to get to your gear and have your gear protected in a backpack. So the reason why I like this is that in the back, if you open it up, all your gear is just easily accessible. So you throw everything in there. I don't know if you can see this. Throw everything in here, you can open it up and grab it. But what I also like is this guy, this whole insert with the gear comes out. The reason why I like that is because I also travel with a Pelican 1510, which is, you know, the standard airport size Pelican case. And I can take that out, put it in a Pelican, and get another bag and put it in here with my clothes, so I can be lighter on my backpack, lighter on my back, and I can put all the weight in my Pelican as I'm carrying it as a carry-on. But I didn't do it in this case. Everything was in here. I forgot to mention, what I like about this bag is that it's big. It's actually probably the same size as a Pelican 1510. It's larger than a, you know, what they allow for a personal item, but they don't say anything about it because it's a backpack. I did have, I think I was flying Spirit. I did throw underneath the seat, but I pretty much had to put my feet on top of it was a mess. It was a mess, but what's nice is I can fit a lot of stuff in here, and I have a lot of gear. So, at the top, I typically keep my computer stuff in here. So, I'll have my computer charger, but you saw on the rig walk around where I do keep the stuff running in the Jeep, but this is if I need to put it in my backpack and need to move around. I also have 2 hard drives in here. This is a 2 terabyte CalDigit Tough hard drive. It's fast. That's what I like about it, because it does the USB Type-C, and I'm able to work off of it and have files and not have any issues with that on my computer. That's the reason why I chose this. I think for 2 terabytes it was like $170, and I have 3 of these guys, so I really like them. Here's the cord, the USB-C for the hard drives. I had multiple ones. I always carry doubles of both. The only double I don't have is my laptop charger. That's probably something I do need to get. Don't have a double of this. This is a mouse. I cannot edit with the trackpad on the laptop. I just can't. I can't do it. So I use a mouse. It really speeds things up. I have a memory card reader. I also have another one in there, but need those to read your memory cards. Also, my memory cards, I use SanDisk 64 gigabytes, like their fastest one. I think I had 5 of those, 4 of those, 6 of those. This is what I use to carry all of my SD cards, as you can see. What's nice about this is that it holds the small ones for like the GoPro or the Mavic, and then it holds the big ones on top. So the thing that I did with this was let's say I just shot everything on here, right? Like, let's say today's vlog is on here, and I would throw this on the bottom and pretty much have this card, like this card's ready to go. So tomorrow I'm gonna shoot on this card, and then this vlog, I do not format this card that has this vlog, today's vlog on it, until it is released. So I don't have to worry about backing things up. At least the video's out. If the hard drive does crash, at least I have the YouTube thing out there. I would like to still keep the raw files, but that's just kind of my system. I kind of just move the cards up as the day progresses. But these are just extra cards. I never used them. These were, you know, you could put the little micro SD card in here and put it in a normal reader, but my reader reads the small one. So I do recommend carrying this, because if you have multiple cards, it's just easier to have them in there instead of the small things, and it's waterproof, shockproof, whatever. And yeah, it's nice. Also, in the top of my pocket, I have another card reader, and I also keep a lens pen. What a lens pen is, on one side, this is like a soft bristle thing. You brush the dirt off on your pen. But the first thing you do before using a lens pen is either you use your mouth to blow off the dust or any loose dust or like hard rocks on your lens, or you use this. This is called a rocket air. There's one that you can get that has like a filter on the back, so you can blow clean air on your lens, or if you're blowing it on your sensor. But I use this to blow off any loose particles. Then I use the lens brush to get any things that are kind of stuck on there. And then on the other side, this is kind of like a carbon swap thing. I forgot what it is. It's like what's in a newspaper, but you use this to clean off your lens. So you don't want to do it backwards, because if there's any hard rocks on it and you're using this, you're just going to be grinding and scratching the glass, and that's not good. So this was the soft bristle top, and then here is the carbon tip. On the side pocket, I do have a 3.5mm cord. The mic I use actually uses a 3.5mm cord, so that's why I have this as backup. I will go through the actual camera setup after all of this. And then in the side of the backpack, I do keep my chargers and cables and all that stuff that fits in there. Typically on this side, I've put the gimbal, but I'll show that later. A water bottle goes in here. In front is my laptop. But you saw where I kept my laptop in the Jeep. But this is a Razer Blade. Not a Razer Blade Pro, it's the 14-inch. What I like about it is that it's small, thin, and light. A lot of PCs are very bulky. This is a gaming computer also. It has like a 1060 in it, which is nice for video editing. And then the reason why I have a PC is because I like PC. I don't really know Mac. And Mac to me is overpriced, in my opinion. So get whatever you're comfortable with. I'm comfortable with PC. Like I said, Toyota versus Jeep. If you know computers, get whatever you want, because you know computers, you can do what you want. So if there's any issues with my PC, I can figure it out. If you don't know computers, you like stuff that's just easy, just go with Mac, pay that extra money, go with that. So this is what I have. Also in the front pocket, I have this thing. This is actually a color checker. This is to get accurate colors when color grading, but I'd never used it for that. This thing's like $100. I actually used it for my mouse pad tray when I would edit in the Jeep. So I'd sit in my lap. I had something hard to put my mouse on instead of having this flimsy thing. So that's what it was used for. This is my Sony A7 III. If you saw, I forgot what video it was, but this is when we were in Flagstaff. I was using it, and I think with the mic port plugged in, I kept the mic in and I kept setting the camera down on the mic, and I think that's what caused the mic port to break. So I don't use this for vlogging anymore, which is fine. I use my Sony A7 II, which is what I'll show right now. So this is the camera I was using. This is my A7R2, and it's on the Moza Air gimbal, as you can see. Whoops. I typically do not keep this on here. This is just, you know, little tripod stand. But this was what I was using to film myself, as you just saw, which you're gonna see more of. But I'll talk about what's in front. I have two filters in front. I'll talk about filters later in this video. On top is the Rode Video Mic Plus, Video Mic Pro Plus. It's the most expensive one. It's the one that automatically turns on when you turn the camera on, and it automatically turns off when you turn the camera off. What's nice about that is that if you have a mic that you have to turn on and off, you're gonna forget to turn it on. It happens all the time. It was happening to Brandon in previous vlogs before I came on to the team. But yeah, this is what I ended up actually using to vlog. I did use a GorillaPod before. I don't know where that is actually. But this, I just like it because it's smoother. It is heavy, but you gotta deal with it. And so yeah, so I used the Sony A7 III as my main camera. I did like to shoot more B-roll of the cinematic type of stuff, you know, following the cars. I did keep this on the gimbal, and then I kept my Sony A7 II on the sticks. I did have a GorillaPod. I don't know where that GorillaPod is. I stopped using it because we now vlog on the gimbal, as you saw. But on here right now is my Sony 55 1.8. This is my main lens that I use for like taking pictures or anything like that. This is my all-time favorite lens, but in terms of vlogging, I do not use it. You've already seen the lens that I do use, which is on the camera right now. So the 55, I'll tend to do more of the close-up shots where I can shoot at 1.8. Again, if this is all alien to you, I can't really explain it, but shooting where I can get the blurry background a lot and then just getting something single in focus, this is what I use the lens on. I tried to really shoot cars with this, but it just didn't look right, so I have to use a wider lens, which I used the vlogging lens. So I try to make things as easy as possible. I tried different things as we were going through the whole trip, but in the end, I ended up just using the A7R II as my vlog camera and my B-roll camera. That's where I get, you know, the slow motion shots and all that, just because it's just easy instead of trying to juggle two cameras, the drone, the GoPro, and all of that. I also have, as a wide angle, I've only used this for photos. This is a Laowa 12mm 2.8. It's that really wide angle, but what's nice about this is it's not a fisheye, but it's really wide. It still has some distortion, but it's cool. I didn't really use it that much. The reason is because I do not have any ND filters for it. So I use it for photos because I can adjust the shutter speed, and for video, since I don't have filters for it, I gotta ramp up the shutter speed, and I don't like the look of that. If you don't know ND filters, it's basically sunglasses for your lens. It's so that you can change the settings on your camera, so for video. So I'm not gonna go into detail on that because this will just be a crazy long video like it is already. My night vlogging lens was this guy. This is a 28 f2. That's when at night, that's how you saw it. I really did like the look of it. I was thinking of vlogging in it. It is kind of close, but I do just like the look. It just has a more non-GoPro-y feel. At the wide angle that we do on the vlog, it just feels that GoPro, like super wide, but it's nice being able to easily frame anything. But with this, since this is a 2, it's better in low light because the lens I do have is a f4, but I use this for the nighttime. Of course, I do have batteries. I kept my passport batteries in my backpack. I had 4 batteries for my R2. It's terrible on batteries. It just eats through batteries. And then my A7 III, I just had 2 batteries. And one battery would last me a couple days, while on the R2, one battery will last me like 2 hours. Now, let's get into filters. It's all kind of, it adds like a little personal taste. There are different filters. There's just the clear filters that protects the lens so you don't get it scratched up. I don't like using those because you're just putting a blank glass in front of the lens. Like, that's not really doing anything, and it could deteriorate the image. But with all the dust and stuff, you do want to have something in front of the lens, which is what I did. So on the vlogging camera, I actually had a 1/4 Black Pro Mist filter. And what that does, it makes the highlights, it kind of blooms them. It gives it more of like a filmic look. That's what I like personally. And I have that filter on all of my lenses, besides my crazy 12mm wide lens. But I just love the way it looks, and it stays on all of my lenses. So in front of the vlogging camera, I do have the Black Pro Mist filter, and I also have a polarizer. What a polarizer does is that it messes with the reflections on things. So like the sky, it makes the skies a lot deeper and brings out the clouds. If you're filming water, it takes out the reflection in water. If you're filming through glass, it takes out reflection in the glass. So reflection in glasses, all that kind of stuff. It also cuts down your light about 1 stop. So the reason why I keep that in front of it instead of this variable ND filter, so the variable ND filter makes the image brighter or darker depending on how bright or dark it is. This is for that shutter speed issue that I was talking about. So why I use a polarizer instead of this variable ND is just because I would rather have deeper skies than a shallower depth of field. Since it's only an f4, I'm shooting at like 8 to like 16 to 22 sometimes. Yeah, that's what brings out a lot of the dirt in the lens. That's the reason, because I'm shooting a high aperture. But it's just the system that I liked. With this, that's why you got to figure out what you like the best. But yeah, I have this when I do shoot B-roll. If I do put it on my 50mm, I have step down rings, so I can put it on here. But I hope this all makes sense. It probably doesn't. This is all photography stuff. Can't really go into detail. Just look up what does an ND filter, a neutral density filter do, or what does a polarizing filter do? What does a black pro mist filter do? What filters for lenses? There's a lot of resources out there to figure out what it does and why it does it, all that great stuff. In the bag, I also have a couple of actual lens cleaning cloths. I know a lot of people were complaining about the lens being dirty. Honestly, it was so hard to keep the lens clean that I was just like, screw it, we're gonna leave it dirty. That's the grungy look that it's gonna be. And the reason why it came out a lot was just because of the higher f-stop, which makes everything in focus, so it makes the dirt in the lens in focus. But I would clean it off every now and again. But also, since I do have those filters in front of the lens, I wasn't too worried about trying to clean it off, because if one of the filters gets scratched up or banged up, it's like $100 instead of like a $1,000 lens. So that's another benefit of having those filters in front of the lens. So that's it in terms of my bag. I do not have the drone or the GoPro. Those are Brandon's. Brandon actually owns that. So in terms of the GoPro, we use the GoPro Hero 6. What's nice about the GoPro is that you can just press a button and it will start recording, and then once you press it again, it will stop and then turn off. And so what I typically did is I left it up on the middle console that you saw on the rig walk around. And if I saw something cool, if we're going through water, I would hurry up and grab it, take it out, and like get a wheel shot or something like that. I don't really like editing GoPro footage because for whatever reason, it's slow on my computer, which it shouldn't be, because I've edited Red or Blackmagic raw video on that computer and it works fine. But GoPro footage, for whatever reason, is garbage. So we didn't really use it that much. It finally has an image that I do like, because I've used other GoPros and I was like, this looks too action camera, it just doesn't look right. But the new GoPros, the GoPro 6, I'm actually able to color grade very well, and I'm huge on color grading and making the image look as good as it can be. And then in terms of the drone, we use the DJI Mavic. That's what it's called. It's not the Air, it's just the regular one. And the reason why we use that is because it folds down and it can fit in small spaces. We don't want to bring out the Phantom and have a completely separate box. We don't have space for that. So the Mavic we just use, and the image, honestly, it's good enough. Sure, it's not as good as a Phantom. If you put them side by side, it's like, yeah, but if you just look at the Mavic, you're like, wow, that's a good image. Like, it's good enough. So I'm personally waiting for the Mavic 2. I'm hoping that it's better than the first Mavic, and I don't want to buy the first Mavic while the Mavic 2 comes out, and we already have a Mavic because Brandon has one. But I know this is a lot of stuff. But in terms of settings and stuff, on the cameras, I would shoot for like color grading, I would shoot in the flat profile. So on my A7 R2, I would shoot in Cine 4, which I feel like is the best image quality in terms of color grading for that camera. On my A7 III, I would shoot in S-Log 2, not 3, S-Log 2. GoPro, it's the flat profile, I forgot whatever it was called. And on the Mavic, everybody keeps asking about my settings on the Mavic. For the profile, I use D-Cine-like, or the color, and then I went into the style and I went to soft and put -1 on the first triangle. I think that's sharpness. That's just what I like. That's what I found out that I like. But if you do not know how to color grade, do not use these settings, because what's going to happen when I'm talking about these flat profiles, what happens is that the image is, there's no saturation, there's no contrast, it looks like crap. The reason is because you have to bring it back through editing. You have more information in there. Just look up flat profiles and color grading. I can't go into detail. I can later in later videos, but not in this video. This is just so people understand what is going on. In terms of editing software, I use DaVinci Resolve, and the reason is because that's a hardcore color grading software, and I love to color grade, and that's where I spend a lot of my time. I didn't really spend that much in the vlogs, but I'm able to get an image quicker than Premiere Pro. So I used to use Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro is still a good program, but I just decided to go to DaVinci Resolve because it saves me time in terms of editing. It did take me about a month to kind of learn it from Premiere, but they both have their pros and cons. There's also a free version of DaVinci Resolve if anybody's interested in actually just getting an editing software. The best thing you can do is just pick one and learn it, and just stick with it, because they are all slightly different, but once you learn one, you can kind of figure out the other ones. They all have their pros and cons. I also forgot to mention, there's also, I had a tripod, like a small tripod. I have no idea what brand it is or what style it is. It's a Vagabond. But that was only used for photos. For the Milky Way shots and the long exposure, all that kind of stuff, that's all flashing in front of the camera. But that was fun to do. But anyway, that's it. That's all the gear I used. You do not need this gear in order to achieve the same results. It's true. You can achieve the same results by using different things. You just need to know the pros and cons of whatever camera you're using. Every camera has its strengths and weaknesses. The only way you learn it is by using it constantly and figuring out what it can do and what it can't do, and you just utilize those things. But yes, as a reminder, I am going live. I'm trying to go live at noon on Sunday. The 1st, actually. Noon on Sunday. There's a lot of stuff that may be going on that day, so I'm trying to do it at noon. You guys can come in, ask some questions, and all of that good stuff. Again, thank you for all the patrons. Thank you for the new viewers. I know these videos have been stale. We're just trying to figure it out. I'm going to go into more detail about, I guess, my life and what's going on in my life and all the situations and all that in the vehicle and all that good stuff. So be there Sunday, and I will see you there. Hopefully I see you there. If you're watching this, you better be there. Well, I'll see you there. You'll be there, right? I'll be there. Will you be there? Anyway, thank you for liking, subscribing, disliking, commenting, being you, being cool, being awesome. Yeah. I don't know how to sign off. Bye.